What's up, guys? So a little bit different of an episode than what we usually do. I get a lot of questions from you guys asking about lure spreads, what lures I like, different types of lure spreads, what to run in different environments, what to run if you're, fishing in this area, fishing in that. So I thought, might as well make an episode all about it. I've done segments where we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I thought this would be a great time. We're in the off season, my boat's in dry dock. It's raining right now, so they can't paint. We're kind of sitting around waiting. So I thought, let's go talk about some lures. So we're at my house here. Welcome to my house. That's where I do all the editing. That's Miss Kira right there. Yeah, let's go grab lures. I actually haven't fished since Cabo. Here's a couple cool things. These are some trophies from a long time ago when I won some tournaments down in Samoa. Ones from different years. This one used to have a marlin made out of a bill on there. It fell off. Some of them are pretty old, but a couple cool things. I'll show you another thing too. Check this. My grander, the news clipping in Samoa. That was the first grander ever caught over there. Still is the only grander caught there. And that's the lure we used to catch it on. Kind of cool. There's the bill. Pretty big bill. But yeah, let's go grab the lures. Like I was saying, I haven't even taken my lures out of their pack since Cabo. Went down to Cabo, packed my bag with all my tackle, and I brought kind of some of my choice lures. Here's another cool lure to check out here. Joe Yee fish head insert. It's pretty rad. I got some really cool Joe Yees. I just kind of have in the safe a couple that I don't really use. I do run this one from time to time. It's kind of cool, orange eye. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So I basically packed most of my lures down to Cabo, and here's another kind of a cool trophy from Samoa. Kind of a cool little fish hook design. That's 2014. Yeah, so sorry, keep getting distracted trying to show you guys some cool stuff here. So yeah, it was went down to Cabo, fished Bisbees, brought some of my favorite lures. There's still probably a bunch of lures there's a bunch of lures on my boat right now. So if we're talking about lures, and I may just have to kind of fill you in on those, and maybe have to edit a picture onto it or something, because I may not have them sitting with me right at the moment. But yeah, so went down to Cabo, fished the Bisbees. Immediately after, I had to head down to Western Samoa. We were reopening after we were shut down there. I have a little surf resort down there. We're reopening after COVID. We were shut down for forever, and we're finally reopening. So I had to go down there, drop the moorings, kind of get everything set up. That was kind of what I did for the next few months. Of course, had to go down there and get some barrels too, and reap some rewards. So just did kind of a lot of surfing and getting that place back up and going. It's running now. Boat, we put that in dry dock here to paint the whole thing. We had a bunch of wood to fix out. We're doing the deck. We're doing a lot. It's a huge project. So the boat's in dry dock, hoping to be fishing by the 14th of March, a couple weeks away now. So kind of nerve-wracking. I think it's going to be pretty tight to get to that, but I think we will make it happen. I hope so. I have a charter on the 14th, so let's hope it makes it happen. But anyways, yeah, so that was really cool. Samoa was awesome, got some great waves, and now back here at home. And I thought, well, this would be a great time to kind of talk about some lure spreads, talk about what I really like, what I'm currently running most of the time, what I would run in different locations, show you some of the lures, kind of talk about a little bit, And while we're doing it too, we'll show a little bit of marlin footage too, some fish getting caught on some of these lures. So I didn't bring my bullets down to Kona. That's why that's on the boat still. I didn't bring it with me down to Kona because I found that in Cabo, did I say Kona? I meant Cabo. I didn't bring my bullets down to Cabo. I found that in Cabo, when I start pulling bullets, we start just getting piled on by mahis and striped marlin, which I mean is probably a good thing when you're fishing there, fun fishing, but when you're fishing the Bisbees, I don't want to kill time having to fight them and bring them in and deal with it and, you know, slow us down and stuff. So I don't usually pull bullets there. But let's talk about my spread right here. All right, so I'm gonna basically almost design the spread in front of you as if the boat right here. Okay, here's our boat. There's the back of our boat, okay? Kind of rounded GNS, rounded back there. So, I'm gonna have to move that actually. Short corner, blue breakfast. Been kind of liking it in this kind of like mahi color. I also have one that is this Mira, like almost like a pinkish color in it. And that one's been really pretty hot with purple over pink, and I've been running that one on the short corner. I may switch up the short corner from time to time, but usually I'm gonna have this on my short corner, so I caught my grander on this. It's just, you know, I know a lot of guys are kind of impartial to Bart lures, and there's a lot of guys that do make some great scoop lures, and I pulled them, but for some reason, whatever it is, I might stop pulling this lure, you know, I might start pulling and then start trying different things, and then I'll put this out and it'll just get hammered by a big fish, and the fish just do the speaking on it, you know. It just seems to work for me, and I think probably I've been pulling this particular lure, not like this one in my hand, but this shape of a head from Bart. I've been pulling this one probably for, probably 20 years of fishing. I'm trying to think when I said 23, 22, 18 years. 18 years I've been pulling this particular head. So I have a couple tricks that I up my sleeve to make this run the way I want and get better hookups. You know, the common complaint that you'll hear about people with these scoop head lures, especially this lure, is that they can't hook fish on it, and that's just gonna happen because of the nature of how it runs. But what I like to do is when I run it on my short corner, I like to run it really high up in the rigger. Or long corner, I like to run it up pretty high, which dims down its wandering as much, and kind of you get a tight wiggle and a little wander, but it's not wandering all over the wake. And then if I get a fish behind it that's like not eating correctly or he's acting kind of lazy or something, I could bring it down in the rigger, and as you bring the angle down, it'll get more active and kind of like tease itself. That's one way of doing it. So here's my short corner, boom. I'll skip a wave, so I'll have my teasers on my waves here, doot 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 doot, dredge, something big here, something big here. I'll have 3 teasers out. Short corner, we'll skip a wave, we'll go across the spread. My next lure is either gonna be this badass thing right here, the Love Machine. It's a modified version of the Machine, Aloha Lures Machine. Really hard cut, you can see. It's kind of like a Kona cut. So it's not really gonna handle the super rough. It's gonna have a hard time handling that rough. But if it's rough, I'll switch it out, right? But for the most part, this thing just runs beautifully on that long corner. I mean, it looks insane. It's just super explosive, runs very straight for the most part, you know, has a tight wiggle and stuff, but for the most part runs straight, so it's easy to catch. Very explosive, very aggressive, big fish meal right there. And so that I would run on my long quarter. If we get a little bit of bump, or I'll switch it up, there's a smash bait. Can't mess around with old smash. I mean, this thing just caught so many fish. The other one I have on my boat's got like kind of a light glittery blue top on it, and that's a little different. One of them's weighted, one of them's not. I'll run them in different conditions and different times. I like this one a lot though. Kind of traditional Mira, and likes to get bit. I've caught some of my biggest fish on these. Really good lure. Yeah, they get eaten. That's all I can say. So kind of a mixture between the two. Ding ding. Next one up is going to be old Rick from Arizona. This is a lure we nicknamed Rick from Arizona. It's a tantrum lure. It's a XL Bandit with a Kona cut, so a sharper curve, sharper cut to it. It's a real molehill, just explosive pushing bait. Does a little bit of a like almost like a tube skitter, and then will give itself a little bit of a straight wiggle down. And just for whatever reason, the big fish seem to like this. You know, I've caught a lot of fish on it, and I'd say 90% of the ones that do come up and eat this thing are over 500 pounds. So it's definitely a big fish raiser. Can handle a little bit of the rough because of how Nick likes to kind of taper these edges. I think he's one of the only guys doing that nowadays. That's an old Crampton thing that they used to do on the Cramptons. They still do on the Cramptons now that the Cramptons are being made again. But that's a little secret of the lure makers to kind of make it hang in there when you get a bit of chop. We had one hammer the front of this the other day, and I kind of haven't got bit on it since then. I'm a little worried that maybe it's made a difference. It still looks good to me that's running all right, but we get pretty anal about how we want these things running. So I don't know. Nick, you might be needing to make me another one. I don't know. Anyways, Rick from Arizona. That's gonna be my staple short rigger. Everything I run is run out of the rigger too, by the way. Even my short corner, I don't run anything flat. Okay. Long rigger is gonna be my the feather sword. See if I can find a picture of this and put it on here. Feather sword, large tantrum bullet in a color combo that I came up with that I just have done really well over the past. And me and Nick were sitting around talking about color combos, and I said, oh yeah, I've done really well with this one. It just seems to be the one. I've used it on different ones and started putting it on the larger one and edited the colors a little bit because of Nick's, what are they called? His flash that he's come out with. The gosh, I can't think of the name right now. Anyways, the flash that he's come out with, his Flashaboo that he does, which is really cool. It's like super, super bright. Anyways, I edited up the colors a little bit on it to work with his flash. And yeah, we called it the Feather Sword. At the time, the kids were, my kids are really good friends with his son. My daughter's really good friends with his son, Sam. So they'd hang out and watch the Wiggles. And then, you know, my kids got really into watching the Wiggles. It's like an Australian, if you're not Australian, the Wiggles is like a kid show, like a Barney or something like that, kid show from Australia. Anyways, there's a character on there called Captain Feathersword, and me and Nick used to always joke about Captain Feathersword. And then I just started calling that rig that lure the Captain Feathersword, and unfortunately, seems to be what Nick is calling me these days, and a couple other people. Captain Feathersword, which I'm impartial to, but whatever. The lure catches fish, and it's the old Feathersword. So, you know, and maybe that'll be my my lasting legacy in sport fishing. After everything I try to do, it'll just be this lure that's called the Feathersword. But anyways, caught some big fish on it. Check out this clip of this just donkey we caught on it. All right, now back to our spread here. So we got this breakfast here. We got these two Aloha's options. We got Rick from Arizona. And then we got feather sword on the thing. Now, here's where things get a little bit weird. And you may want to comment on this and be like, you shouldn't have that there, whatever, blah, 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 blah. All I can say is it freaking works. The Sundowner, Aloha Lure Sundowner, I've been running this thing on the Stinger, and it's just been getting absolutely annihilated. Eric sent me one just to kind of mess around with and see how it runs. He's kind of just kind of prototyping, I guess, a little bit and just kind of testing it, see. And I didn't have any spots left in my spread because everything was just like kind of taken up by staple stuff, and I have people paying money to fish with me, so I don't want to mess up my spread. So I just said, oh, put on the Stinger. You know, there weren't really a lot of tunas around. There weren't a lot of spearfish around. So I thought, we'll run it, you know, for a day or two here on the Stinger so I can get some pictures of it and some video, send it to him so he knows how it runs. And then, you know, next year I'll get it in the spread more, and, you know, whatever, we have some more time and the fishing's hot. Anyways, first day I put it out in the Stinger. Within a half hour, we had a huge ahi, just whoa, and just completely kind of miss it, blow up on it, which is understandable when you're running your hooks far back in the skirt. You're gonna miss a lot of ahi bites. If you really want to catch ahis or you're missing a lot of ahis, try running that first hook really close to the head. Running a double hook rig will help, but if not, running one real close to the head. A lot of times they'll blow up just on the head and then you won't hook them. So anyways, I had it rigged for blue marlin, so obviously we missed that tuna. But to me, when I see them doing that, I had a Koya hardhead, and one day, you know, we ran it a couple times, and one day the big ahi came up and exploded on it, same thing a couple times. And ever since that bait was just like dynamite. It was just getting hammered, hammered, hammered. We ended up losing it, unfortunately, but that was a really productive bait for me. And I kind of like in my head was thinking like, okay, that was like a telltale sign, you know? So when this thing exploded on that, I was like, oh boy, I think we're in for a really good bait here. And then from that point on, it just every single day it was just getting singled out by blue marlin. We caught a double, and the biggest fish of the double ate that. Then we caught a real nice one. Well, I mean, in the upper fives in the Marlin University trip, and that came up and ate that. Here, check it out. It's pretty sick fish. And so yeah, that one ate this, and this thing was just super hot for me, and continued to be till the end of the season, and I'll start the season next year running it. We only fished maybe a handful of days with it, so it'll be exciting to see what it does for me in the season, and I may even be tempted to run two of these, one on the short corner and one on the Stinger. We'll see, might get a little weird. I have one with a green head that's weighted. This one's not weighted. I have one with a green head that's weighted and with an eye, and I tried that one out in Cabo, and that was our primary bait in Cabo. We caught a couple blue marlin on it. We had stripies all over it. It was just getting slammed. So weighted or unweighted, it works. The reason I used the weighted one in Cabo was because we have a little more chop there. Yeah, so anyways, here's your spread minus the feather sword. Short corner, long corner, short rigger, long rigger, Stinger. Everything's run with a single hook. All the slant head lures
aggressive style lures, they're gonna be run with the hook facing down. So meaning like if this is the hook point, it's gonna be like that, okay? And then I'm gonna adjust it to how I want this lure to run. I use it as a rudder. The flathead, the scoop head, and the feather sword, hook's gonna be running up. Unless you have a super keel weighted style, you know, a lure like this that's super keel weighted, I wouldn't mess around with the hook going down because there is no orientation for down on these. So they'll basically, you know, be fighting the hook, and the hook will be fighting the coil memory. So I don't suggest it, especially on bullets as well. I wouldn't run the hook down. Scoop face ones are a little bit tricky. Some of them will run really great with the hook down. I just found that this one in particular, I seem to like it with the hook up. That's just got to experiment with it, you know. So that right there, guys, is spread number 1. That's my go-to spread. That's one that I really like, and one that I've caught some fish on lately. That's the current spread I'm running right now. If you put a boat in the water and said, let's go fishing, this is what's going out there. But let's talk about some more spreads here, right? I'm always just talking about that go-to, that Kona spread. Let's talk about some more stuff here. So let's talk about, what are you gonna pull? Say you're in the Atlantic, you wanna catch some fish, right? You wanna catch some billfish. You don't wanna completely limit yourself. What are you gonna pull? And you're gonna pull lures, right? Because a lot of guys are gonna pull teasers, right? What are we gonna pull? So here's what I would pull. A little bit of chop. On my short bait, I'm probably gonna pull a breakfast, blue breakfast, or I'm gonna pull maybe a Coil Lures Poi Dog, the large one. That'll hang in there. Might pull a Marlin Magic Captain's Choice, maybe an XL Ruckus. That's gonna be my, you know, kind of more intense bait there on that corner, my long corner. If it's calm, I'm gonna pull my smash bait. If it gets rough, I'm gonna be putting out the Sundowner or the Aloha Lures Beauty, or Bond's, what's that lure called? Violator, the Violator. Maybe a Abaco Prowler by Bart, or possibly the old Tantrum Large Plunger. Might even give it a go with an XL Kaboom. So there's a lot of options for that long corner, okay? Short rigger, where things are gonna get a little bit different. I'm gonna probably run a Tantrum AMN, or a Aloha Medium Beauty, or a Sundowner, or a Gully Boy, Aloha Lures Gully Boy. I may put out a some sort of a plunger, maybe a Joe Yee Super Plunger, maybe a medium Joe Yee Medium Plunger, maybe the Tantrum Kaboom, but not the biggest one, probably like a medium. That might be what I'm gonna pull on my short rigger. Long rigger, I'm gonna pull a large bullet, Flash Boo. Center rigger, I'm gonna pull a Koya 9 Plus, or I'm gonna pull an Aloha Lures Uncle Mo. So that's your spread. I'm fishing around there, that's what I'm gonna do. If we're mixing in teasers, I'm probably gonna run 2 dredges, 2 squid chains with some big ass lures on the end of the squid chain, and then skip 2 waves. In that first wave, I'll probably have a Sundowner on one side and maybe Rick from Arizona on the other side, and then farther back probably have a bullet and maybe an AMN or a Beauty. And then have that 2 wave space between the teasers in there can be kind of like your little pitch area. I don't do that, so that's just what I would think. Chime in if you're like, hey, that wouldn't work, blah blah blah, whatever. You know, happy to hear different spreads, different ideas. This is what this is about. I'm just telling you what I like to do and what I would think I do. Cabo, Mexico spread. What would we be pulling? I'm gonna probably pull
a scoop face lure on the short, or I'm pulling Rick from Arizona on the short. Depending what the weather does, we're gonna switch that up. Long corner is gonna be smash bait, or it's gonna be beauty. If it starts getting rough, beauty's gonna go out there. Short rigger is gonna be the sundowner. Long rigger is going to be a small or medium ruckus, probably a small one. That's gonna change if we're just meat fishing, then that's just gonna be a bullet, probably like a Nyama. Stinger is gonna be a small bullet, Mo or Uncle Mo or Deep Six, or those are aloha lures. Uncle Mo, Deep Six, or the magic or the crazy Malolo or magic Malolo or whatever it's called, the magic bullet or whatever. Basically a rounded head with a flying fish head in it. That thing's gonna get hammered over there. That's what I pull. Flashabou on those. Where else? Now let's think here. Say I got a ticket to go fish somewhere for big fish, you know, somewhere like where there's just absolute giant ones around. What am I gonna, you know, and you're just kind of looking for the big ones, you know, maybe you can handle. So probably go there. And then on the long, maybe a bullet, and then I probably wouldn't even pull a stinger. Just a thought. There's also, I mean, the other thing too is the poi dog. Yeah, I'm left that out of a lot of these, but Eric Koinagi's lures are fantastic. I've caught a lot of big fish on those, and the poi dog is like one of his most, you know, versatile, badass lure. I could run that long corner. I'd like it on the short corner, but it tends to like to pull a little, so I don't get away with it on the long corner as much as I want, or on the short corner. So I feel like on that long corner it runs a bit better. So you could get that out there, and that'd probably also be a decent Cabo bait too. That's my story right there with some spreads. I hope that helps. I'm gonna show you a little footage of some spreads in action and kind of what it looks like. We're gonna show little blue marlin action, and next episode we're gonna be out fishing with you guys. So stand by. Thanks for hanging in there. I hope everybody's having a good off season if you are having an off season, or if you're in your season fishing, I hope you're crushing it. Comment below if you got questions. Shoot me messages on Instagram. Give me a follow. Happy to answer. I'm always quick to get back to people. Like to help people if I can. I like to hear theories, ideas. If you got theories, ideas, hit me up. Send them my way. I like hearing it. I'm not the type of person that's just stuck in my way. Like, oh my, this is how you have to. This is how it has to be done. Or this is no, not at all. I just like talking about how I like to do it. And like, you come and talk to me in a year, I might have a different spread. I might have a different idea. So, you know, but I want to share it out there with you guys. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That helps a lot, so I can keep doing these things. And yeah. Phew.